Unsung Murder Ballads discusses topics of a disturbing nature.
And we're not going to hold back on the graphic details and disturbing content.
So we do not recommend our podcast for children under the age of 13.
And while we respect the victims and their families involved in these tragic cases,
we're also going to be critical of mistakes that are made during the investigations.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So with that said, this podcast may not be for everyone.
And that's okay. We're glad you're here checking us out.
And if you've made it this far, welcome to the Unsung Murder Ballads family. And follow us on Instagram at Unsung Murder Ballads if you want to talk to us.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 95. I am Janus Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
Welcome to our second Roulette episode, finally. We're getting around to that. So I actually had a discussion the other night with someone at a bar, and he was talking, and he didn't know what I did for podcasting, but he started bringing up fight, flight, freeze, and then he started to say a fourth one, and I thought he was going to say fawn, like we always talk about. But he turned out, he said film. So
film.
Okay. So he's saying that in the new culture, like Gen Z or whatever, like the new thing to do when something dangerous is happening is to pull out your phone and videotape it to prove that it happened because you might not be believed.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I was once he said that, I told him about the podcast and how we always talk about fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And he had never heard fawn, so we ended up in this conversation. But, you know, he's not wrong. How many times have we seen someone videotaping something that's incredibly fucking dangerous?
Right. I guess it makes sense as, like, an alternative to, like, it feels like part of freeze, maybe, and that it's, like, acknowledging I can't do anything about the situation. I can't make the situation less dangerous. And if you're, especially for, like, a bystander, the least you can do is hope that, okay, like, let me prove that this happened and get accountability for it. Right. I know it happens a lot with, like, police violence. It's a big thing that's advocated for. It's just film it.
Right. And I was thinking, I watched a video earlier today of, it was a family hiking through the woods. Like the father had like a toddler, like a 2-year-old, and like he was holding his hand and he was carrying a baby. And then there's the mother who's actually filming, and they're being followed by a bear. And
oh my God.
Yeah. And my thought was, why the fuck are you filming? Like, it just didn't make sense. Like,
that's a good question.
And in the end, like, as you were watching a little bit of it, they do say we have the bear spray and blah, blah, blah. So they're not going to be in danger once they spray the thing. Because according to the little word bubbles, you know, whatever, their text that they put up there, it did say that the bear stalked them for quite a while before they, you know, used the spray. But, like, still, why are you really filming this? Like, especially for how long they filmed it for.
Yeah, there's definitely a weird trend of, like, things that people instinctively film rather than just, like, live their life. But
yeah, it was strange. Like, I've seen a lot of videos, and I know they show up in my algorithm because I watch them, but I've seen a lot of videos of people underwater with sharks, and the sharks are getting aggressive, and they're, like, doing whatever to fight them off. And I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
See, I never understood that. And frankly, I never understood the filming of something. I mean, yeah, you may be powerless, but call authorities or call for help or do something. I don't know. It always bugged me to see something going on that's detrimental to somebody's safety, and you're just standing there filming it.
Right. And it depends on the situation. Like the cop thing, I 100% agree, because the cop violence needs to be recorded so that someone can be held accountable. And I suppose, like, if they thought they were in danger by videotaping the bear attack, we know what happened, so to speak. But it's still weird, especially, I mean, again, they had the bear spray, but the fact that they had a toddler and a newborn was really strange to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked up. But anyway, back to topic. Yeah, I just thought it was cool that this guy brought up the film part of that, which was cool. And so we'll have to add that to our repertoire when it comes up, which will be cool. But so tonight, again, we're doing our roulette, which means the three of us will be doing 2 extremely short cases each. The reason they're so short is because there wasn't a lot of information, but these cases are important. Like, so these people, someone died, and these are things that we should be discussing. So that's why they're so short. So we hope you all enjoy it.
All right. So the first case that I'm going to be talking about today is the case of Patrice Brown. So this is a really recent case. You'll see why that makes it extra interesting.
Okay.
So Patrice Johnson had been disabled since birth and unable to speak or dress herself.
Fuck.
Yeah. Her biological mother died of lupus when she was still a child, which, man, setting her up
Yeah,
for a rough
that's
time.
yeah, that's tough in general. Like, I mean, her first situation is awful, but now it's even like the how compounded that becomes. Fuck.
Mm-hmm. So her father, Milton Johnson, later married Hyacinth Brown Johnson, who pledged to take care of her stepdaughter and not put her in a full care home away from her family.
Yeah, I call suspicion already.
Oh, of course you do, Jameson.
Well, this isn't going to have that lengthy twist, so I don't know if
This
that'll
is
be
true.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we got the villain right away, but we'll see.
Friends of hers said that she really loved this child. So at least friends are corroborating that she really cares about this child.
That's good.
So Hyacinth lived in an apartment in Queens for at least 15 years before her daughter and son moved in with her around 2022.
Oh yeah, so this is very recent.
Very, very recent. A neighbor said that he thought Hyacinth lived alone because she was the only one he ever saw going to and from her apartment. The neighbor said that he had not seen her stepdaughter for years and didn't even think she still lived there.
Okay, fair.
Kind of odd.
Well, again, if you're not seeing someone come and go, and you're not very close to them, then I can see where you would think those things.
Right, true. And she's probably not leaving the house much except for like doctor's appointments, realistically.
Right, and who depending upon when this guy works, like he may be asleep when they come and go. I mean, it is Queens. Like New York is the city that never sleeps. So
True that. On Saturday, November 19th, 2022, Hyacinth's nephew, Jabari Burrell, was visiting and he was smoking weed in the kitchen.
considerate of him.
So considerate. At one point, I'm assuming because of this, he got into an argument with one of the women in his family and allegedly he just snapped,
Oh shit.
which is weird for someone smoking weed.
Yeah, so he must have been something else in that weed or doing
Yeah,
something
or that
else.
wasn't the only thing he was doing.
Exactly.
So very little information has been released as to exactly what happened that night and in what order things happened, but these are the things that we do know.
Okay.
65-year-old Hyacinth had thrown herself on top of her stepdaughter in a desperate but sadly doomed effort to save the younger woman from the rampaging Burrell.
Oh fuck. So he went after the person, the disabled person.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Or we don't really know, but we can assume
Yeah.
that maybe that's what it
twisted.
was.
Wow.
25-year-old Patrice Johnson was discovered lying dead in her medical bed with Hyacinth lying dead nearby on the floor, both of whom were also stabbed multiple times.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
So it's assumed that Hyacinth died fighting for Patrice and for herself.
Right. Which that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Hyacinth's own daughter, Latoya Gordan, who was 47, was also found dead in the home.
Oh, so he killed everybody in the house.
Just like everyone, yeah.
What the fuck was he on?
I don't know. The next morning at approximately 9 a.m., a relative and a health aide entered the residence and discovered Latoya lying dead on the floor of a bedroom with multiple stab wounds to her body.
God damn it.
It took officials nearly 9 hours from when they first responded to remove the bodies of Hyacinth, Latoya, and Patrice from the house as they collected evidence, all while the distraught family members stood outside.
So it's one of those things like I applaud that they were thorough.
Yeah.
But making people wait 9 hours?
Yeah.
That's excessive.
It's really rough.
Yeah.
They probably were updating them what was going on, but we don't really know.
Right. That's true. Yeah, you're right. I was assuming they were standing outside on one side of a barricade for 9 hours. It was probably very different.
Yeah, but, I don't know. Investigators also recovered blood-stained knives in the bathroom, the kitchen sink, and a kitchen drawer. So there's multiple knives.
Oh, man. Fuck. So you killed one, grabbed another knife, killed another. I mean, we don't know, but like.
It just sounds like a crazy rampage. I have here that they also found knives in Mrs. Gordan's bedroom and the living room. So that's 5 different rooms with knives in them.
What the fuck?
That's crazy.
What the fuck?
And it's hard to imagine like what actually happened, but it sounds like he was like running around this house with a knife in each hand, just like rampaging.
Yeah, stabbing everybody. Fuck.
Yeah. The landlord of the building said that he heard a scuffle take place between 2:30 and 3:30 a.m. And soon after, he heard a car drive away.
I understand that you may hear a scuffle and you don't want to get involved, or it's probably nothing, but can we encourage people to, I don't know, act on these things?
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
like check on it.
Yeah, something.
So it was discovered that Burrell had stolen Hyacinth's car and drove all the way to Virginia after the bloody homicides.
From Queens, so he's probably driving for what, 6 to 8 hours ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. High. High out of his
Yeah,
mind.
high in driving. Video recovered by police appeared to show the car speeding over the George Washington Bridge into New Jersey and headed south just before 5 a.m.
So the murders happened around 2 a.m. So he was in there for 3 hours ish.
Yeah, it says they're around 3 a.m. I think.
Oh, okay. So it took him a couple hours to do what he did and then leave New York City. Okay.
Mm-hmm. With the surveillance footage in hand, the NYPD could put out an alert on the stolen car.
Okay, good.
And then with that, the Virginia State Police spotted her car in Prince George.
Okay. I don't know where Prince George is exactly, but
it was the Virginia State Police, so we assume it's in Virginia.
No, I know, but I was just trying to picture what part of the state, because I was wondering how far he actually got. You know, right? What I mean? Like, was he almost in North Carolina, kind of thing? But
either way, the car had run out of gas, so that's why he stopped. It wasn't actually because the officers stopped him. Car ran out of gas. Officers approached. They probably ran the plates and found Burrell behind the wheel, covered in blood and with wounds on his hands.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's a hell of a scene to walk up on.
Yeah, hate to see it.
Yeah, like, I'm just imagining what you have to be going through mentally to drive until you run out of gas and just sit there.
Yeah, it's this kind of fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. Don't do drugs, kids.
And it's like, we just usually do this. It's just really weird.
Oh, it's definitely not just weed. There's no way that's just weed. Now, it might be a mental illness. Like, he may be, whatever, paranoid, schizophrenic, whatever he might be. We don't know.
Right.
But, I mean, it's not just weed. There's no way.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would never blame it on that. Burrell later allegedly incriminated himself, describing how he had attacked each of the women.
But they didn't release the details, which is probably for the best.
Yeah, they didn't release the details. We'll see that they haven't. There's been no reported trial yet, so this is still in early stages.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So after being discovered in the car, he was taken to a hospital for his wounds and awaited extradition.
It's funny that we have to do extradition from state to state.
Yeah, it's such a weird.
Never made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to stop at each border when we go between states, so it's funny that we have to be extradited. But, I get it.
And the United States lives in a weird place of being 50 countries, but also being one country.
Yeah, it's a strange situation.
Yeah. While in custody, he actually waived his Miranda rights.
Whoa.
Was he still high?
I don't know, but it's certainly a weird thing to do, but he clearly is out of his mind.
Yes, he's not of his right mind. Yes.
So current status of this case, as far as we know right now, is that Burrell was charged with 3 counts of murder in the first degree, 3 counts of murder in the second degree, and criminal possession of a weapon. And with those charges, he could face up to life without parole if convicted.
Right, because I think New York did away with the death penalty. So
yeah, I don't think they have the death penalty there.
Right. To be fair, like, he may need a hospital more than a prison. So hopefully he gets that. But I mean, we'll see once it plays out. We'll have to update everybody when there is an update, if there is an update.
Right. Yeah. And there's so many questions remaining here that it'll be very interesting to see when the trial happens, of just like, what actually went on here.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing, like, to just find 3 family members dead and then this guy on the run. That's such a strange situation.
And that's it for the case of Patrice Johnson.
All right, Jameson, you're up.
All right. I am going to start with my first case, and that is the case of Danny Dabbs. LaMonica Tucker was born on April 20th, 2003 in Canton, Mississippi to Latifany Chambers and Lamont Tucker.
Okay.
She was
I'm sorry.
Young.
Not only that, but LaMonica, Latifany, and Lamont.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I see what they're doing there.
Make it nice and easy, right?
Right? Just let's this all of them. Like it's almost as no, it's not almost as bad. It just reminds me of the Taylor Shabusiness episode.
Oh, nothing could ever beat
Yes.
Taylor Shabusiness.
No,
Oh,
that
God.
one was too beautiful. Yes.
So LaMonica was the firstborn of 4 children. Officers with the Jackson, Mississippi Police Department at about 9:30 p.m. on Halloween night responded to a 911 call regarding an unresponsive juvenile at a residence located in the 600 block of Lower Drive.
So this is Halloween?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, I'm not sure where 600 block of Lower Drive is, but to me that just sounds like a bad area.
It sounds like a low income area at the very
Yes.
least. Yeah. But it's also Mississippi, and most of Mississippi is kind of below poverty.
Right. It's not a very affluent area.
No, the whole state it's typically like, I think it's typically number 50 in a lot of these statistics, like education, economy, that sort of thing.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize how low they were.
Yeah, Mississippi is poorly run, poorly managed. Let's put it that way.
Fair enough. Upon arriving at the scene, first responders reportedly found the victim, LaMonica, and she was unconscious and showing many signs of physical abuse.
Fuck.
Yep,
Ugh.
always a bad sign right off the bat.
Yeah.
EMS personnel transported LaMonica to a nearby hospital where she unfortunately succumbed to her injuries.
Hmm.
As part of the investigation into LaMonica's death, authorities had the victim's 2 younger siblings, a 14-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl, examined by doctors, and both of those kids showed signs of physical abuse as well.
Ugh.
Yeah, but I'm
So
not.
awful.
It's awful, but I'm not surprised. Like usually, if there's
Nah.
one, there's all of them. Yeah.
And it wasn't just, recent stuff. It was prolonged, things that had been there for years and
Right. Right. Which again,
things.
that makes sense.
Following LaMonica's death, Lee Ann Brandon, the director of communications for the Mississippi Department of Children Protection Services, stated that the family had been reported to the agency multiple times in preceding years and that the parents had been ordered to complete counseling in 2016 after accusations of child abuse were sustained by investigators.
I love how there's always the red flags that they don't act on.
Exactly. Like, wouldn't that just make you want to jump into action right away?
Again, all I can point to is, and I don't mean to shit on people from Mississippi, but the differences between how they handle these types of cases down there versus up here is massive, obviously.
Right. And I bet there's a difference in resources too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like caseworkers may be overworked. They may be underpaid. May not be as many of them.
Yeah, like maybe they're only able to address the most like clear, obvious neglect cases.
Yeah. Like the severely abusive ones. Yeah.
Yeah, like where it's like kid comes to school with broken arm and also there's no food inside the house and also it's like unsanitary to live in.
Right. And I'm going to go one step further. Based on the names, this may also be a racial issue.
It could be.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
So the children's mother, Latifany Chambers, and their stepfather, Danny Dabbs, were both arrested.
Good.
Yeah, exactly.
Dabbs pleaded guilty to 1 count of second-degree murder in LaMonica's death and 2 counts of felony child abuse for the abuse inflicted upon the other siblings.
So second degree murder. So unintentional. So he was just abusing her and she died by accident.
Died because of, yeah.
Yeah. Fuck this
Which
guy.
I think is absolute crap.
Agreed. Fuck this guy.
So Dabbs was sentenced to 40 years on the murder charge and 10 years on the child abuse.
Wow.
And all of that was concurrent sentencing. So it all happened.
So it's all going to happen at the same time.
Yep.
So he's got 40 years minus whether or not he can get parole, which is, more than we've seen in other murder cases.
Right.
Most definitely.
So good for Mississippi, I guess. I don't know if they have the death penalty there, but I mean, he might not have gotten it with only second degree murder.
I have a whole different thought process as far as charges and, punishments. And I feel like these scumbags shouldn't be able to do what this guy did. But Dabbs was initially charged with capital murder.
Okay, so he was going for the death penalty.
But he pleaded to reduce charges after his attorney reached an agreement with prosecutors. I don't think he should have that option.
Yeah, but if you're gonna fight a capital charge and not take the plea agreement, then there has to be a trial. There's money spent, and then the families of the victims have to relive what happened. So oftentimes these are put out there to avoid that suffering on the parts of the family and to save the state money. So
I just wanted the fucker to pay more than what he actually paid for.
100% agree with you.
Feel that.
So Latiffany was convicted on a charge of capital murder and 2 counts of felony child abuse.
Good. What did she get?
She was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole on the murder charge, plus an additional 10 years for the child abuse.
So she got more than he did?
That's interesting. I wonder what in the case made that differentiate.
Do they go into detail on that?
I don't have many details besides that.
These are the reason we do these cases is because there's not a lot of information. Right. Fuck. That's interesting. She must have been guilty of other things. Like, it must have been evidence that she maybe was more the abuser.
And he was just along for the ride or did her bidding
exactly.
or something.
Yeah, like it was under her direction maybe. That's interesting. But that is unusual. That's fucked up.
District Attorney Owens said in a final statement following the sentencing, "This is the end of a truly traumatic and horrific crime of physical, mental, and sexual abuse."
Oh no.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, I don't have any more details, but that quote alone tells me that there's much more to this story.
Yeah. And I'm glad the other 2 children are out of the situation, but I hope Mississippi is taking care of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we all know what the foster system looks like pretty much anywhere.
God, it's horrific.
Yeah, it's not a good situation.
No, it's not. And that makes me nervous for the other 2 because both of the parents, or the mother at least, I don't know if Dabbs was the father or not, but either way,
the stepfather.
Yeah, so either way, they're now orphans by all accounts. So
yeah,
fuck.
Yeah, it just really sucks when it's like there's no other family member who can take them in, and they just have to go to someone random who's probably not educated enough to deal with the kind of trauma that these kids went through.
Right. Although when you said that, I realized I made the assumption that there weren't other family members, but either way, I hope they're being taken care of.
Right.
Fuck. So this additional quote gives me a little bit of hope. The DA goes on to say, "Our office will continue to fight for and protect all children from those that commit these kinds of acts."
Right, but that's a very political promise.
I know. But at least he's not, sweeping it under the rug and
blowing smoke. Yeah.
So that is the case of Danny Dabbs.
Really sad.
Yeah, that's fucked up. And I should point out, all these cases do have that underlying theme of family member death for our audience at home. So, because I'm about to do one very much the same. So, are we ready for this next one?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, this is the case of Charles Slacks, like spelled exactly as it sounds, like pants, slacks. And that might be an outdated term. I may have just told everyone exactly how old I am.
No, slacks are like work pants.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that was still used by, the younger folk.
The youngins, the Gen Zers.
So this takes place in Sumter, South Carolina on March 21st, 2003. So actually a bit more recent than yours, Joyous.
Oh, wow.
U.S. Army Sergeant Major Aletha Holliday was spending time in her backyard with a friend and coworker. Aletha also ran a catering company that specialized in desserts and chocolate treats. Her friend has since been identified as 38-year-old Sergeant Major Carlos Evans. Carlos Evans was from Petersburg, Virginia. He joined the Army in July of 2002 and served in multiple duty positions and locations around the world before joining the U.S. Army Central Team in 2021. It is unclear if there was more between the two of them, as reports have not suggested otherwise. So, interestingly enough, despite everything I'm about to tell you, no one can confirm that they were dating, so maybe they weren't.
Okay.
So, Aletha's children were upstairs sleeping. There was Aiden, who was 5, Asen, who was 6, and Ava, who was 11. Same situation with the La's. We now have the A's. So Aletha's cell phone was also upstairs charging. So it was around 10 p.m. when Aletha's ex-husband, Charles Slack, let himself in using a key to the home that he had. Sumter County records show that both Slack and Aletha owned the home. They had separated on January 1st of 2022, and she had submitted the divorce notice in February 21st of 2023. So they were separated for a year before she decided it was time to divorce. On March 2nd, the divorce was officially granted, and police say that Slacks was also retired military. So all these people served in the army, basically. So Slacks, 42 years old, entered the house and went to the back area of the property where Aletha and Carlos were. Without any warning, Slacks fired several shots at Carlos, severely injuring him.
Holy shit.
Just fucking pulls out a gun.
That's insane.
Slacks then proceeded back into the home and made his way up the stairs. Aletha went after him, but when he aimed the gun at her, she immediately got out of the way. So not knowing what else to do, because her phone is upstairs, Aletha went out to Carlos and started searching for his phone in his clothes as he's laying there bleeding. As she searched in vain because she couldn't find his phone, she heard 3 gunshots ring out from upstairs.
Oh my God,
Oh,
that's gotta be
no.
horrifying.
Terrified, Aletha ran back inside the home, and Slacks was standing at the top of the stairs. He put the gun to his own head and pulled the trigger.
Coward.
Yeah, that's so... Ew, I fucking hate it when people do that.
Fucking loser. So at this point now, Aletha was able to run up the stairs past his body, and she gathered her phone and checked on her children. He had shot all 3 of them, 2 of which were his biological children and 1 of which was a stepchild. Aletha called 911. EMS arrived and brought Carlos to the hospital, where he would unfortunately die from his injuries. Sumter Police Chief Russell Rourke said, quote, "As adults, we're not conditioned to bury a child. This incident is very emotional," unquote. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking, obviously.
So Army officials praised Carlos in a statement after his death. Lieutenant General Patrick D. Frank said, "Command Sergeant Major Carlos Evans was an outstanding leader and a caring friend who inspired and lifted up all those around him. He was well known and respected by all, and the influence and impact he made within the unit will never fade. We collectively mourn the immense loss of his presence in our lives, and our thoughts and prayers are extended to Evans's family." A celebration of life was held in the children's honor later that month. In April of 2024, the town of Sumter presented Aletha with a garden memorial for her children, which is located at the Durant Children's Center on North Salem Avenue.
That's really nice of them to do.
Yeah, it is nice. And it's military, so you can sort of see. I'm assuming this happened on like a family area of a base, like a living quarters kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but aside from a single post where Aletha shared photos of her children, wanting them to be remembered for the beautiful people that they were, there is no more information on what she has done since this horrible night.
Ugh.
Yeah. And that is the case of Charles Slacks, the fucking scumbag who just can't accept that his wife moved on.
That's just, oh my God.
Wow, we got a real sad lineup tonight, don't we?
We do, and we have 3 more to go.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
hate to say, it's my turn again, and
yeah,
it's another real sad one.
Well, and that's the thing about these cases, because I know we've talked in the past. Like, I think Jameson asked me, he was like, we were talking about how short some of them were, and the problem is that they may be short because there's not a lot of information, but they're potent as fuck. This is like the bite from like a black widow. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah. It's gonna sting.
Exactly. All right, go ahead, Joyous.
All right. So the next case we're talking about here is the case of Letecia Stauch. In the weeks before the events that we'll be discussing, Letecia Stauch was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder after she was referred to a psychologist while being treated in a military health clinic.
So another military case.
Another military case.
Sorta.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she was in the military or if she was like a military wife or what the situation was here.
Okay.
The therapist that treated her testified that she didn't show any signs of being a threat to herself or others and was very aware of her surroundings.
Okay. That's always a terrifying thing to hear.
Yeah, I mean, you know what this podcast is about. But yeah, it's generalized anxiety disorder, super common. That's like not a red flag. It's like,
I've worked with hundreds of people that probably suffer from that.
yeah, it's very, very common, very prevalent. So I wouldn't be concerned either if someone's like, yeah, I have anxiety. I'd be like, yeah, girl, me too.
Let's go share in our anxiety together.
Yeah. On January 27th, 2020, Stauch reported that her 11-year-old stepson, Gannon, was missing, saying that he left home between 3:15 p.m. and 4 p.m. to walk to a friend's house, but he never returned.
Okay, so just based on what you've already said about what her psychiatrist said, obviously that's not going to be true.
You know, you're an excellent guesser.
Yeah, we've been doing this too long.
Right. I mean, and I'll bet you can guess what the next thing is. So the next thing I'm going to say, what do you think the press said about this disappearance?
It was a runaway.
It was a runaway.
Yeah, of course it was.
And there you're right. Juvenile runaway.
Of course it was.
Gannon's biological parents made emotional pleas for his safe return and thanked the community for their support.
Wow.
Dozens of volunteers helped search for the boy in the area around where the family lived near Colorado Springs. 3 days after his disappearance, the sheriff's office reclassified his case as a missing or endangered person, citing new information and evidence.
Okay, curious.
Yeah, so the new information was as follows. They learned that Stauch had lied to investigators about her whereabouts and activities on that day and afterwards.
Really? I can't believe that.
I know, I can't believe she lied. It's shocking.
Wow. Next she'll tell us she didn't kill him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, for real. She claimed that Gannon was sick that day and he stayed home from school, and that she drove to various places with him throughout the day.
So first he left for a friend's house and now she's driving him around. Okay, sure.
Right? Surveillance footage from a neighbor showed that she had left home with Gannon in her truck around 10:15 a.m., and investigators believe that she returned with him around 2:19 p.m.
Wow.
Okay.
So he's home sick, but you're taking him out for 4 hours? I don't know what's wrong with you.
Right? Like he's either, we obviously know this is going to be a lie, but if this were true, you're a shitty mother.
Right.
Yeah.
Stauch then claimed that a man that she had hired to repair a carpet had raped her and then abducted her stepson.
I'm sorry, what?
Why wouldn't you
Huh?
lead with that? If that were true, why wouldn't
Right,
you
why wouldn't you
lead
lead with
with
that?
that? Yeah.
Yeah, it really is pretty nonsensical. It was revealed that she had also asked her 17-year-old daughter to purchase trash bags, baking soda, and carpet powder on the same day.
I thought you were going to say bleach, but the carpet powder's right there. Yeah.
Yep. Al Stauch, who was her husband, allowed the FBI to listen to his phone calls with her after he became suspicious of her, as he tried to draw out more information from her about where Gannon was.
Okay, I like that he's smart like that.
Yeah, it's like as soon as he's suspicious, he's not going to call her out. He's going to be sneaky, and that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, much, much better. Smart way to go. Otherwise, she might have killed him.
Yeah. Hours of that audio from those calls, along with the video recordings of interviews with Stauch about her mental health, would later be a prominent part of the evidence offered during the 5-week trial.
Good. Good for him.
Yeah. Evidence recovered from the residence and inside Gannon's bedroom supports that a violent event occurred in the bedroom, which caused bloodshed, including blood spatter on the walls, and enough blood loss to stain his mattress, soak through the carpet pad, and stain the concrete below his bed.
Holy crap.
What the fuck? She thought she was going to get away with a lie?
It's insane. It really is insane.
She really truly thought they'd never check his bedroom?
Right?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, how bad must that have been?
Really bad. So that's just like it's a really grisly image.
Yeah, holy fuck.
He disappeared on January 27th, and then we're up to March now. So in March, Stauch rented a van, and she and her daughter drove to Florida.
Okay. Just randomly, like, okay.
Oh yeah, totally random, nothing to do with anything.
All right.
On March 17th, 2020, Gannon's remains were found inside a suitcase by a maintenance worker under Escambia Bay Bridge in Pace, Florida, more than 1,300 miles away from his home.
So she had his body for like 3 months?
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And people are looking into this and no one found it. That's impressive on her part. Like, where the hell did she
Yes.
keep it?
Yes, I don't even know.
Holy fuck.
Gross.
And then so I'm sure you're going to get to it, but the daughter is in the van too?
Right.
And she's okay?
Insane.
Fuck.
Having found the remains, they were able to determine cause of death, and it was determined to be blunt force trauma, sharp force injuries, and a gunshot wound.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So I was picturing a lot of stabbing with the blood, but now there's a gunshot. So she hit him over the head with something, stabbed him a lot, and then he probably wasn't still dead, so she shot him?
I guess that's what this
Fuck.
picture shows here.
Fuck.
That's overkill.
Literally.
Yeah.
Prosecutors suggested that Stauch snuck out from her hotel room where she was staying with her daughter in Pensacola to dispose of his body in the middle of the night, hoping that it would be swept into the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay, so her daughter's unaware.
Well, yeah, I guess that's what they're claiming.
Okay.
It was initially believed that maybe she had disposed of his body in a remote location north of Colorado Springs where they lived, and then retrieved it later to be moved to Florida.
Okay. In Colorado Springs, in January, February to March, it was probably cold enough to preserve the body enough.
Right, yeah.
But still weird that she managed to hide a body for 3 months.
Right, and that no one found it.
Crazy.
Even when people are searching. Yeah, it's crazy. On March 2nd, 2020, so this is before his remains were found, Letecia Stauch was arrested in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, on charges of first-degree murder of a child by a person in a position of trust, child abuse resulting in death, tampering with a deceased human body, and tampering with physical evidence.
Awesome. So they were arresting her before they even had a body.
Yeah.
Good.
And the fact that they caught up to her after she disposed of it, I mean, I'm sure you'll get to it, but it would have been better for police if they had caught her with the body in the van.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I feel bad for her daughter. If her daughter doesn't actually know at this point, oh my God.
Terrifying.
Could you imagine if I told you that one time when you and I took a drive somewhere, there was a body in the car? That would fuck
I
you
would
up.
be surprised.
I would hope you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Man.
Horrifying.
Yeah. Especially because it's like a family member.
Right.
Ugh.
Just it's so disgusting and disturbing.
So fucked.
Yeah, if you told me you had
Yeah, if I told you I had your cousin's body in the car. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, even worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So she was arrested in Myrtle Beach, but she was extradited to Colorado, again another case of this
Right.
extradition, and held without bond at the El Paso County Jail.
Good. I like that there was no bond.
No bond is what we love to see. If they're a danger, no bond.
Exactly.
Prosecutors in the case claimed that Stauch killed Gannon to hurt her husband, who was away at a National Guard deployment at the time of Gannon's disappearance and death.
Well,
What?
that's just fucked up.
I was going to say, it's one thing to be petty. It's something else to be like, I'm going to get you back by killing your kid.
Yeah, I'm going to get you back for doing your literal job requirement.
Yeah, you're not showing me enough attention because you serve your country. I'm going to kill your kid. What the fuck?
Insane.
Wow.
Right. Which leads into she pled not guilty
Of
by.
Reason of insanity.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
Yay.
of course. Of course. But at that point, what else can you argue?
Right. And what else would even make sense here?
Right. Wow.
So you ready for the bullshit defense?
Go ahead. Oh, God.
Here we
Go ahead.
right? Because they have to come up with something. That's how the law works.
That's how it
Did she
works.
hear
yeah.
voices? Was it God?
Well, so her defense attorney, Will Cook, said that she was sexually abused as a child, which caused her to develop dissociative identity disorder,
Oh God.
which was formerly known as multiple personality disorder.
You know, I guess they had to come up with something, right?
They had to come up with something, which is, knowing what that disorder is like, you're
Yeah.
not just gonna suddenly figure it out.
Yeah, like, I mean, and realistically, multiple personalities is so rare that I don't even know if it was legitimately really a thing. I'm sure it is, but like,
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's definitely a thing, but it is incredibly rare.
Yes.
Incredibly rare. So despite these claims, she was declared sane at the time of Gannon's death by a Colorado State mental hospital,
good.
making her able to understand the difference between right and wrong in the eyes of the court.
Well, the fact that she had the body shows she understood it.
Yeah, she knew exactly what she was doing. Yeah, and she was able to form the intent to commit a crime.
Exactly, and especially because she had 3 months to turn herself in and didn't.
It's so unlikely that she was like fully dissociated into a different identity for 3 whole months. It just doesn't make any sense.
Not at
It
all.
would be obvious.
Yeah, obvious to anybody.
But she was questioned by the police.
And obvious to her husband and her daughter and anyone else who talked to her.
Exactly. Prior to the sentencing in this case, the judge, Gregory Warner, said that the facts in this case are the most horrific I have ever seen.
Wow.
See, now I always find it interesting when judges say that because I'm sure they see a lot of shit that comes across their desk.
Yeah, but a woman murdering a 14-year-old boy to get back at her husband, that's pretty fucked up.
Oh, I don't take anything away from that. I just like, as the law in that capacity, that's intense to know that that's the most insane you've seen.
Yeah, I hope
Right,
I
they
never.
see horrific shit all day, all night.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hope I never see anything that horrible. Like I don't want to see that.
Right. The judge also said that compared to other defendants who cite mental health problems as the reason for their actions, Stauch was never surprised by what she claimed her other personality had done.
Yeah, that's definitely a big giveaway.
Exact dead giveaway that she wasn't like shocked to find out, like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, or at least like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what it would be like, but at the very least, you'd think she'd be like, no, I couldn't have possibly have done it. Even with video evidence, I'd be like, that's a fake somehow. But if she was never.
Exactly. And it's like she covered up her tracks so purposefully that it's a load of shit. Yeah. The judge also said he asked, there's no time during the minutes, hours, and days following the murder where Letecia came out and wondered, gee, why am I carrying a body around and a body in my luggage? That's just isn't credible.
Yeah, exactly. And I can only imagine that I wonder if people chuckled at the courthouse the same way we just did, because that's so fucking true.
Right. It's exactly true. It wouldn't make sense for that to be the case.
Right. Wow.
Earlier in the case, jurors had heard a 5-hour recording of Stauch's initial interrogation by FBI agent Jonathan Grusing, who questioned her after her arrest in March 2020. The recording allegedly revealed that she knew more about her stepson's disappearance than she had initially claimed.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
course.
She's going to change
one
it
point-
again? Like now it wasn't. Sorry, I was going to say, is she going to change it again? So now it's not just her getting raped, it's him too or something?
Oh, some shit. It's always some shit. At one point, Grusing told Stauch that her internet search history had been obtained and showed searches including, quote, I don't like my stepson, and, quote, blood spurting from arterial bleed.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It's the first one is just a funny thing to type into Google. Like, who does that? But
right, like, what are you looking for?
Yeah, like, are you trying to find other people in a support group that doesn't like their stepson?
It's weird. It's a weird thing to Google.
Yeah, but the other one is awfully damning.
Extremely.
I'm surprised it didn't start with how to clean.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How to clean blood spurting from arterial bleed.
Wow. Now I'm picturing the scene from I don't even remember what movie it was. It doesn't matter. When any number of horror movies where someone gets cut and all of a sudden the blood is just going everywhere. That's what I'm picturing now.
I'm picturing Sweeney Todd, actually.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm always picturing Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, I was going to say you like Sweeney Todd a lot.
It's my favorite musical.
It is a good one.
Stauch also accused her husband, Al, of being involved in Gannon's death and alleged that he had connections to drug cartels and sex trafficking rings.
Wow. So she's trying to take him down too. So clearly she hated him because she killed his son, and now she's trying to frame him for anything she can.
Right.
Wow.
Al Stauch divorced her shortly after her arrest in March 2020.
Good.
The judge also said he believed Stauch was motivated by hatred and jealousy of Gannon's biological mother, Landon Ballard.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's really fucked up and gross.
Yeah. Like, this kid had nothing to do with any of that.
Before her sentencing in court, Gannon's father, Al, spoke to the courtroom and requested that her sentencing include a year for every mile she drove from Colorado to Florida, where she dumped Gannon's body in 2020.
That would be amazing. I'm all for that.
A hell of a sentence.
Absolutely. It's pretty badass of him to say that.
Fuck yeah. I'm in support of that.
The judge told Stauch, "You took away everything Gannon was and everything he could have been."
Yeah. Which, I mean, at 14, the kid had his whole life ahead of him.
Yeah. Really young kid.
And he probably
So sad.
he probably never did much of anything. Maybe he played on a sports team. Maybe he had a girlfriend. But really, like, he didn't live life.
These cases with kids are always the most heart-wrenching because, yeah, they really just didn't even get a chance to live.
No, not at all. I hope her daughter has not spoken to her since.
I hope so, too. Her 5-week trial concluded on May 8th, 2023, and she was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Yeah, good. Fuck her.
Good.
Fuck her. Absolutely. She did not appear to show any reaction to the verdict as it was read, sitting at the defense table between her two lawyers.
Do you think she was another personality at that time? Sorry.
God, I mean, that actually lays some sort of credibility to that claim, and that, like,
Yeah, that
I
would
don't
be
know.
like, especially if she was looking around going, "Who's this person that they're speaking of?"
Right.
Yeah. Well,
But later, as everyone milled around the courtroom talking, she sat there alone, taking sips of water.
she had to know it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, she had to. It was so obvious, and so that, like, you know, I wouldn't call it dissociative identity disorder, but she certainly was probably dissociated and just like, I know what's going to happen here. I know I'm going to prison forever.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you going to do once you're convicted? You're just going to sit there and be like, okay, I'm waiting for them to take me away now.
Exactly. But it's still fucked up to not respond to this at all.
Yeah, I mean, no tears. I mean, she must have really hated both that kid and his father.
It's just really fucked up. Get a divorce if you hate your life.
Yeah, I mean, fuck.
Truly.
I mean, to kill a little kid. I mean, I'm sure. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. We know what 14-year-olds are like or can be like. Maybe he really did treat her like shit. He still didn't deserve to die.
Doesn't justify anything.
That's what I'm saying. But like, she
Right.
should show some fucking remorse. She just devastated. The father, oh my God, he must have been devastated.
Truly.
Fuck. Man, these cases are brutal tonight. All right.
That is the case of Letecia Stauch.
All right, Jameson, you're up. Your second one.
All right. My second case is the case of George James Wilson. On December 11th, 2021, on the 2100 block of Broad Street in Augusta, Georgia, Darlene Wilson was watching TV with her daughter, Kelly Lewis Watkins Neal. It was late after 3 a.m., and Darlene's husband, George James Wilson, 76, was presumed to be asleep.
Okay.
Darlene had suffered at the hands of her husband's abuse for far too long.
Oh God. And and they're still together.
Yeah, apparently, in some capacity.
Right.
She endured weekly beatings at various times that led to a broken arm, a broken leg, and even a gunshot wound to the knee.
Oh my God.
And how is he still out and they're still together? I mean, I'm not blaming her. I'm blaming the police at this point.
Oh, yeah. I have no earthly idea. I mean, he probably, sweet talked them or made it seem like it wasn't too bad, or maybe she didn't want to press charges because she, thought he could
she's
change.
afraid of him or God knows
Right.
what.
I mean, there's definitely so many of cases like that. It's like he threatens to kill your whole family, your kids, your everything if you leave him. So
Right, but where's the police? That's crazy to me.
Also seeing threats that like if you tell the police, then I'll kill your whole family.
Yeah, but if she went to the hospital with a gunshot wound.
Yeah, how do you
Right, and that's
explain that?
crazy. That's crazy that there was no investigation launched after that. That's
Yeah.
truly.
That's the part more than the rest of it. The broken leg, the broken arm, like that should have also been major red flags, but the gunshot in particular. Yeah. Anyway,
Right.
sorry, Jameson.
No, don't be sorry at all. I completely agree with you. Darlene was trapped in the cycle of abuse that too many women find themselves in, and too many cases where they stay way longer than they should because leaving is almost as dangerous as staying, if not more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The most dangerous time is when you're about to leave.
Wilson's history of felony convictions extended back to the 1970s and included assaults and drug charges.
Yeah, because they never do this to just one person.
Yeah, exactly.
He was convicted of family violence battery in Richmond County in 2020 and was sentenced to 120 days in jail
Ugh,
for the
that's
battery.
it? Jesus.
Yep, that's it. Now, what he was charged with, what he ended up doing, was he grabbed Darlene by the throat and punched her in the eye.
So,
And that only got him 120 days.
which is what, like 4 months. So this is the same thing that Raoul Moat got when he punched his 9-year-old.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Darlene's daughter, Kelly, had recently moved closer to Augusta from North Carolina to be closer and be there for her mother. With their bond strengthening, Darlene grew with her confidence and independence, eventually telling Kelly that she was going to leave her husband.
Good for her, but we can see where this is going.
Wilson, as abusers tend to do, made an ultimatum to Darlene and said, "You choose. It's either me or your daughter." Darlene told Wilson she wanted a divorce. So, on December 11th, 2021, Wilson decided to regain control over Darlene in the worst way possible.
Oh, no.
As the two women sat and watched TV in the living room, Wilson entered the room and stood there like he was watching TV. Standing over Kelly, Wilson turned to Darlene and asked, "Is this what you want?" Now, it needs to be noted that there are two different scenarios on what happened next.
Okay.
The first scenario is that Wilson suddenly began strangling Darlene, and when Kelly attempted to help her mother, Wilson then pulled out a knife and stabbed Kelly 3 times, piercing her left lung and a vital artery near her heart.
Wow.
Oh.
The second version is that Wilson told Darlene that Kelly needed to leave, and when Kelly refused, he went into the kitchen, retrieved a knife, and stabbed Kelly.
Oh.
Regardless of which version was true, Kelly died from her wounds.
Wow. Very similar to that staunch story that you just told, Joyous.
Yes, very similar.
Except he did this one right in front of her.
Yeah, this douchebag, murdered Kelly right in front of her mother. And just imagine the guilt that the mother has.
Not only the guilt, but the sense of helplessness. Like, that's
Right.
so fucked up.
After Wilson's arrest, D.A. Williams released the following statement, quote, "This is a domestic abuse case where an abuser killed his stepdaughter to regain control of his victim." Which, to me, just states the obvious.
Which
Like,
is...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't even know the purpose of that.
Yeah, that's... I don't know what he expected the outcome to be. Did he think she wasn't going to leave him and not report it, and they were going to, hide the body? Like, he had to know that was the end. Fuck, these abusers are so fucked up.
They
So
seriously
fucked up.
are, especially when they lose control of who they want to have control over.
Right.
A Richmond County jury served justice for both women, finding Wilson guilty of malice murder, felony murder, and possession of a knife during the committing of a felony.
What an interesting charge.
I know, what a weird tack on, yeah.
I know. I didn't understand the knife charge, but apparently that's a big deal down there.
I guess.
Interesting.
I mean, again, it goes back to something we said during the Robert Durst case. They made the mistake of only going after one charge instead of adding as many charges as they could to keep him in prison.
Right.
So,
Correct. Yeah.
good for them to add anything they could think of.
Wilson was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole, plus 5 years for the possession of the knife.
5 years for possession of a knife during a felony, but 120 days for abusing somebody.
For beating the crap out of, yeah, absolutely absurd.
Sure.
D.A. Williams was quoted as saying, "There are no women to beat where he's going. I'm proud of the preparation and work of this team to ensure that he can no longer hurt another woman."
I hope he's the woman that's getting beaten in prison. Wow.
And that is the case of George James Wilson.
That's so.
Well, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that. So I got to say, like, this is like we're on our final case, and I think this might be the most heartbreaking one out of them all. So let me apologize ahead of time. Yeah, this is brutal. So buckle up, kids. This is the case of Harmony Montgomery. Harmony Montgomery was born in June of 2014 to her parents Adam Montgomery and Crystal Sorey.
Oh no, this is gonna be so young.
She was blind in one eye and had holoprosencephaly. Now, holoprosencephaly is a birth defect that causes your developing baby's brain to not properly separate into right and left hemispheres. Her mother described Harmony as follows. She lit up a room when she walked in. She made a mark wherever she went, and you couldn't stand it. Harmony also had a younger brother, but he was given up for adoption, but still knew and kept in touch with his sister. Her father, Adam Montgomery, had an extensive criminal history, which includes threatening a teenager with a knife and shooting a person in the face during a robbery.
Oh my God.
Yeah, keep that in mind as we continue on and talk about Adam Montgomery later. There's a 101-page report by the Massachusetts Office of the Child Advocate that detailed Harmony's time bouncing between her mother's care and foster care. The Department of Children and Families Office received reports of neglect while baby Harmony was living with her mother, who was struggling with substance abuse. Her father was incarcerated at the time of her birth and was not involved in Harmony's early life. Now, Harmony was legally removed from her mother's care and placed in a foster home, and she began being cycled between her mother's care and the care of the Department of Children and Families over several years.
Oh, what a horrible situation.
Now, I do have to say, Massachusetts is better than a lot of states on how well the foster care system does work, but it is still the foster care system.
Indeed.
Adam Montgomery had inconsistent contact and supervised visits with his daughter over the next couple years, but in October of 2018, he asked for Harmony to be placed in his care.
Oh, God.
That's insane. He just comes out of prison and they're like, yeah, let me just...
He shot someone in the face, but we'll give you your baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In February of 2019, a judge awarded Adam and his wife, Kayla, full custody and ruled that he had been found to be a fit parent.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
Yep. Montgomery then took his daughter to New Hampshire roughly a week after that hearing, and the Department of Children and Families, their involvement ended.
Wow.
So keep in mind, that's February of 2019. Crystal Sorey, the mother, reported Harmony missing in November of 2021, saying that she hadn't seen her daughter since a FaceTime call in the spring of 2019.
That's a long time to go.
Why'd you wait that long?
2.5 years.
Why?
Well, I mean, she struggles with substance abuse.
Okay.
Yeah. Manchester police then announced a search for her whereabouts, leading to Montgomery's arrest in early 2022. The judge's decision to place Harmony with her father has since come under scrutiny, obviously.
Obviously.
It's too bad someone didn't do a second glance at that years before.
Mm-hmm.
Then New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu wrote a scathing letter to the Chief Justice of the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court about that decision. In December of 2019, we're going to go back to Harmony's life here. In December of 2019, the family, Adam, Kayla, and Harmony, were living in their car, having been evicted from where they were living.
Oh, that really sucked. That's really awful.
Kayla Montgomery said Harmony, who was 5 at the time, was potty trained but began having frequent accidents.
Oh, that's a big red flag for sexual assault and sexual abuse.
Yeah, you're right. That's one of the big ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she testified that her husband, Adam, punched Harmony in the head after 2 such accidents in the car.
Oh my, and she literally has a brain condition.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She also testified that her husband told her that he had struck Harmony after she had seen the girl with a black eye in July of 2019. He admitted that he hit her.
Oh.
It was reported that Adam Montgomery struck Harmony, quote, with such force that he altered the profile of her face, unquote.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
On December
Oh my
7th,
God, that's so awful.
Adam Montgomery struck Harmony numerous times while driving, stopping at lights several times to continue the assault.
Mm.
Kayla Montgomery said she put her arm out to stop her husband from hitting Harmony on December 7th, but that he, quote, gave me this look that was like evil, his eyes crazy, unquote.
Oh God.
Yep, she said she was scared, and he only stopped striking Harmony when he felt something different and acknowledged out loud that he believed that he had really hurt her this time.
Horrifying.
He-
What the fuck?
He then covered Harmony with a blanket as the child cried, moaned, and eventually went silent.
No.
So their car broke down soon afterward, and Adam Montgomery put Harmony's body in a duffel bag.
Oh.
As Kayla told it, he folded her in half and put her in the duffel bag. That duffel bag made it from the trunk of a friend's car into a hallway cooler near an apartment where Kayla Montgomery's mother lived. It then went into a ceiling vent in a shelter where they stayed for about 6 weeks.
Oh.
Eventually, Harmony's remains began to smell, and
I can't believe it took that long.
Right? And Adam Montgomery moved her body into trash bags, which he put into a large tote bag. And this is Kayla testifying to this.
Oh.
She said that she put the bag in a stroller and took it to a restaurant where her husband worked, and he put it in a freezer.
What the fuck?
He later moved the bag to a refrigerator of an apartment where they were staying in Manchester. Adam Montgomery talked about dismembering Harmony and brought tools and lime. Now, Kayla said that he put the body in the bathtub and turned on the shower to thaw Harmony out.
Ew. Oh God,
Ew.
why is he doing this?
And he then asked her to help cut off Harmony's clothes, which she said she did. She said that she left the room soon after, saying that she couldn't be there anymore, she couldn't handle it, and that she couldn't see what was about to happen.
Oh, well, now this is where you draw the line, bitch?
Right, you put a dead body in a fucking stroller and brought it to a restaurant to put in a freezer. But
Right, and now is where you draw the line.
Kayla Montgomery said her husband drove away with Harmony's remains in a rental truck in March of 2020 and that he didn't say where he was going. Adam would then lie about Harmony's whereabouts for more than 2 years. When asked, he told others, including law enforcement officers, that his daughter was alive and well and with her mother in Massachusetts. Not long after that, he started to suspect that Kayla might go to the police, and he began punching her and giving her black eyes.
Oh my God.
She eventually left, essentially escaping from him, in March of 2021. Adam Montgomery, who was 34 at the time, would be charged with gun theft and convicted to 30 years. So he gets arrested for gun theft.
Wow.
So the good news about this is when everything does start to come out, they already have him. He took a moment during his trial for the gun charge to state that he was innocent in Harmony's death. You know, nothing suspicious about that.
I was going to say, that doesn't look real well.
No. So Adam Montgomery was charged with second-degree murder, assault, and witness tampering in Harmony's case. In opening statements, his lawyers acknowledged that he was guilty of 2 other charges, falsifying evidence and abusing a corpse. They said he said that he did not kill Harmony and repeatedly suggested Kayla of lying to protect herself.
Insane.
Yep. So his public defender said only she knows the truth and only she has benefited from all the lies that she has told. During a grand jury testimony, Kayla Montgomery had lied about not knowing what had happened to Harmony, and the defense used that against her. During her actual testimony, during Adam Montgomery's trial, she did her best to try to explain why she had lied, but denied having killed Harmony. So we don't really know how much of a role she played in all this.
Right.
Adam Montgomery.
Either way, it's worthy of you going to fucking prison.
I 100% agree with you. Yep. Adam Montgomery was found guilty in February of 2023 of second-degree murder in the 2019 death of his daughter, Harmony. He was also found guilty of second-degree assault, witness tampering, falsifying physical evidence, and the abuse of a corpse. He was sentenced to 45 years to life for the murder charge, 4 to 8 years for assault, 3.5 to 7 for witness tampering, and 3.5 to 7 for falsifying evidence. He also received a 12-month suspended sentence for the abuse of a corpse charge, which is weird that they suspended it. I guess he was in jail waiting, and they decided, okay, that's the time you spent for that.
Right.
The good news is the charges will be served consecutively for a total minimum of 56 years in prison before he's eligible for any kind of whatever.
All right, so probably the rest of his life.
Yeah, most likely, because he's already in his 30s. Senior Assistant Attorney General Ben Agati said in court they would lower their sentencing recommendations to the minimum if he told them where Harmony's body is buried. The prosecutor then paused for a period, but Adam Montgomery stayed silent.
Whoa.
They're probably, or remains don't exist, probably because he dissolved them, right?
Yeah, who knows? He cut it up and drove away, according to Kayla Montgomery. Prosecutors said time and time again, and about 30 seconds ago, the defendant chose to be heartless, immoral, selfish, and unapologetic. Harmony's remains still have not been found, though a judge declared her legally dead in March of that year at the request of her mother.
Oh.
In court, several people spoke to provide victim impact statements. Harmony's mother, Crystal Sorey, talked about her love for her daughter and hated the monster and coward who killed her. The couple who adopted Harmony's younger brother read a moving statement from the then 7-year-old boy. It read, quote, "I love Harmony. I miss her. I hope I get to see her again. My sister had beautiful blue eyes, and we smile alike. I liked having fun with her on the playground. She gave me a broken Elmo toy that was hers. I still have that. But I have a Minnie Mouse pillow and a new Elmo that's not broken. I keep it in my closet for her. I'm really sad she's an angel. I miss her. She was my best friend. I hope she can see me playing basketball, being silly with my brothers, and I wish I could bring Harmony to my school to meet my friends and my teacher." Unquote. So Adam Harmony.
That's enough to make you break down.
Yeah, I got emotional. It's tough.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Adam Harmony did not speak, but he has maintained his innocence on the murder charge. And that is the case of Harmony Montgomery, which is so fucking tragic and sad.
Oh, it's so sad. And
yeah, that was one of I think that one's up there with the Nia Glassy one we did. That's just brutal.
Yeah.
That was rough. Yep.
Poor kid.
I mean, Nia went through, I think, a lot more for a longer period of time, but still. Holy shit. Fucking scumbags, man. But yeah.
I hope he's rotting.
I do too, and he might be here in Massachusetts, so if he ever tries to go for any kind of parole or whatever, you know what I mean, we can make some noise.
Then we'll be writing, yeah.
We could be outside protesting, it's so close. But yeah, that's tonight. So to all our listeners, we apologize for how brutal these cases were, but sometimes we have to be.
Yeah, they deserve to be brought to light.
Yes, and since we're at the end, we do want to tell everybody This year for Halloween, because our 100th episode is going to fall on the week of Halloween, we're not going to do multiple episodes like we did last year. Instead, we're going to be doing one special episode for 100, and we'll let you know more as we get closer. So join us for that if you're not already planning to.
Oh, it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. So thank you, everybody. Once again, I am Janus Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.